Time now, though, to say hello to tonight's guests. Please welcome Stacey, Dooley and Celia Imrie. Now, Celia, first of all, I've got to talk about Bridget Jones, right? I can't believe we were talking about, lasting legacies 23 years ago. The fourth one is now in production.
Tell us everything.
No,
not allowed.
She's not allowed to tell us that. But I guess 23 years ago, you look back and you think, God, you were just making this film. You didn't know how it was going to do. Did you ever think it would make the impact that it did?
I'm really embarrassed to say I was at a read-through for a film. And it was about somebody who wanted to give up smoking, and they thought they were having too much white wine, and they wanted a boyfriend, and they wrote a diary. And I thought, well, this is never going to get made. And I said to my friend afterwards, I said, I don't understand it. And she said, it's not Bridget Jones' diary, is it? And I said, yes, how do you know? And she said, well, it's been out of the papers for 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh, my
So there you have it.
So
I can't wait till number 4.
Yeah.
I know.
Love it.
You're not going to get anything out of it, though.
I know. When's it out? Is it soon? Come on, Celia.
I suppose about a year
Yeah,
from now.
OK. All right, then.
But Renee is like a dream.
And she's been on. She's lovely, isn't she?
Yes, adorable.
We should talk about your podcast, Days.
Yes.
Talking of famous people. Because it's called Famously on Trial.
Yeah.
It's with a comedian called Larry Dean.
Larry's such a sweetheart, by the way. He's such a goodie.
There you are.
Oh, there we are.
There you are.
Yes,
This is new. So give people a little flavour of what the podcast is about.
OK, so I suppose, in essence, we're looking at trials that have been... they've played out very publicly and people have a very sort of definite opinion on the people involved, etc. But what it does really, I suppose, it acts as a springboard. You then end up talking about broader topics, kind of misogyny, celebrity culture, things that are problematic, things that are celebrated. The first episode is a really recognisable one. It's about Pamela Anderson and Tommy and their tape.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, this played out in the 90s, and you can imagine the narrative surrounds it. Pamela was sort of ridiculed, and she was the butt of a lot of the jokes. Tommy was celebrated; he was this kind of macho hero. So it's really fascinating, and Larry's a total gen. I really enjoy it. It's a really good gig.
You mentioned that obviously the first episode of Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee. What other stories do you cover in there?
So our one out today was about influencers.
Yep.
How much do they know about the things that they are being paid to promote?
Good question.
Next week's is really interesting. It's about Katy Perry. She had it to do with a load of nuns in a convent in LA.
I love the sound of this. I didn't know about this.
I didn't. And it's all, she sort of fell in love with their real estate and they were back and forth and it got quite messy.
She wanted to buy their convent, basically, and they were like, no way.
Yeah. And I sort of get it, actually, because I hung out with a load of nuns in a convent a couple of years ago in Whitby. Had the best time.
That sounds like the start of a joke. I've got to tell you now. I can't, people are just tuning in and they just say, I was hanging out with a bunch of nuns in a convent.
They were just great. They were so progressive, really forward-thinking. I wasn't anticipating that I'd have such a lovely relationship with them.
They are amazing,
They're a scream.
aren't they?
I just had a great time.
I went and had a weekend in a convent too.
Did you?
And it was a silent convent, so you weren't allowed to speak.
Oh, difficult.
But they were. They said how difficult it was to become a nun, though.
Sure. Yeah.
We need to start hanging out in convents. And
They wouldn't let you in.
No.
No chance. We have to say, congratulations. I think it's brilliant. You're in the West End.
I'm in the West
Yes.
End.
In 222 Ghost Story. How is it going? Are you loving it?
Well, I was just saying, I'm just loving it. I'm completely loving it now. It's unknown territory. I've never done a play before. So when they sort of called me, I was really apprehensive, but then I was desperate to give it a go. And I thought, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think, as well, without sounding sort of too cheesy or whatever, I think this play particularly, they've always cast in quite unexpected ways. And I think what that does is it brings a different audience to the theatre.
Yeah.
Which,
Who might not have been.
Yeah. So I wish me luck. You'll have to give me. I'm sat next to royalty, so I feel a bit daft. But it's great.
Am I right in thinking also the character Jenny that you play in there? It's quite useful for you at the minute. It's almost like method acting, right?
Mate, I tell you, it's like they said to me. I'd seen the play in 2022, and it's I won't sort of give anything away, but it sort of all plays out in a living room. It's 4 characters and. The girl I'm playing, she's sort of on the edge of an existential crisis. She's just had a baby. The baby's still on the boob. She's knackered. It's all going on. I thought, you know what? I think I can. If I can try anything, I can try this.
A little bit too close home with it.
Yeah.
Hey, well, look, we can't actually keep you long. In fact, I'm being told right now you're on stage in about 40 minutes, and your bike, you've got a motorbike taking you there.
Showbiz, Roman.
Well, look, we need to get this on you.
Stacey. Hang on tight.
Listen, I'm delighted to meet you. Thank you so much. Nice to
Break
see
a leg.
Thanks so
It's
much.
lovely to see
Go.
you.
See you in a bit.
Oh, thank you to Stacey. And you can listen to Famously on Trial on BBC Sounds, and you can watch loads of Stacey's docs on iPlayer.
Yeah, and if you've got tickets to see her tonight, she's on her way.
We hope.
No go. Yeah, exactly. She'll be fine. Right, still to come, we'll be speaking to Celia about her latest novel and reuniting with Calendar Girls co-star Dame Helen Mirren.
Now then, Celia.
Yes.
You have been reunited with Dame Helen Mirren. Of course, you work together on Calendar Girls. For Richard Osman's new book turned film. Oh my God, Thursday Murder Club. This is incredible. Is it nice, first of all, to be back with Helen?
It's lovely, especially because we don't have to take our clothes off this time.
We can stay
That would
warmer.
be a bit embarrassing at this time. But I've never met Richard Osman yet.
Oh, you love him?
Well, I love him because he apparently said that he was pleased I was cast because I was mischievous. I don't know where he got that idea from.
Yeah, that's what we had heard. I mean, that whole mischievous. Who told you that to begin with? And is that true?
No, I was absolutely delighted because the character I'm playing is as well. But I don't know how he knew.
But this is the thing. You've got your own novel.
I have.
Meet Me at Rainbow Corner.
Yes.
This is a lovely story set back in the 1940s. What can you tell us about the plot without giving too much away?
Well, it's inspired really by my friend Fidelis Morgan, brilliant actress and author. Her sister brought a whole pile of her mother's wartime letters.
Right.
Her mother was enrolled in the Navy when she was 17. By the time she was 21, 3 of her she fell in love with the GIs. That's what the story is about.
Yeah.
The British girls who fall in love with the GIs who come over. And by the time she was 21, 3 of her fiancés had died.
Oh, gosh.
And it's how, I don't know how I would have coped in those days.
No.
Being so young and having this marvellous live for the moment. And of course they fell in love with each other. I can see
Rainbow
that.
Corner is it was a real place,
A real
wasn't
place
it?
in the middle of Piccadilly Circus, which was like an oasis for all the American GIs.
Yeah.
And there was no rationing in there. They had donuts all night long.
Fun.
That was the place to be, yeah.
And the British girls were invited in to be hostesses to dance with them.
Yeah.
And then the inevitable.
Well, of course.
Isn't it?
Of
Yes.
course.
Story.
We've had so many comments for you and messages, Celia, sorry. And Sandra has said,
Yes.
I've read 2 books of hers and they were excellent. She's also a wonderful actor. And I think, Celia, that's one of the questions that we had. You know, being, you know, an actor yourself, when it comes to writing a book like this, do you have in mind, like, you know, this could be a film or how it would look like?
Of course I do, absolutely. And I love doing all the dialogue bits, of course. But yes, no, with an eye to the film. What was wonderful about the GIs, though, they could invent themselves, you know, when they came over to a foreign country. So they'd sometimes big themselves up a bit. And there's a marvellous character, Tony, in the book, who says to his pregnant wife, by this time, Barbara, yes, I own a chain of restaurants in Broadway in New York, up and down Broadway. Actually, it turns out that he ran a hot dog store on wheels that he used to wheel up and down. So it wasn't a chain of restaurants at all, it was a hot dog stand. But they could invent themselves. They could say anything they liked because nobody knew.
Of course, yeah. And you mentioned Fidelis Morgan. You know, a historical researcher kind of helped writing the book, and you said that
We collaborated.
you collaborated on.
Yes,
So was
absolutely.
that a process of going through those diary entries because it inspired Dot, the character in there?
Exactly. Well, Dot was really based on Fidelis's mother, who was in Liverpool and who fell in love with the GIs, and her letters are absolutely astonishing. How she had to, you know, drag bodies out of bomb sites and everything. So young.
Hard to read, I bet,
Yes.
some of them.
And the real stories about actually how difficult it was for the girls suddenly to be shipped over to another country they had to say goodbye to their parents at Waterloo Station. They weren't allowed to go any further. They might not see their mum and dad again.
Yeah.
They didn't really know what they were going to. And some of the stories worked out, some of them didn't.
No.
Some of them got to New York, stepped forward to be claimed by their husband, and nobody came. Oh my goodness. Or otherwise, the GI had married an American and forgotten that he also got married in England.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such good stuff for a book, isn't it? But the fact that it happened, in reality is hard to think about, isn't it? Celia's book, Meet Me at Rainbow Corner, is out next Thursday. Thank you, Celia. As Roman said, we've had loads of messages for you. Jill says, I recently met Celia and her friend, and she was so lovely as she joined us to make our quiz team in the Golden Lion pub.
Oh, on the Queen Mary too.
There you are.
Yes.
Celia, that is the best message I think we've ever had. I'm going to say. Thanks so much to our wonderful guest this evening.
We'll be back tomorrow on BBC Two with Gabby Logan, Paul Whitehouse and a special performance from Kasabian. Have a lovely evening. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.